Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And General, I know you're happy to see the end of the dais coming at you. You're going to get out of here. Let me pick up right where Senator Kennedy left off, because I will tell you the perception by the American people from reading your report, and we've all put up links so that people can read it, is that this was intentional, that it was deliberate, that it was malicious, it was premeditated and well thought out, and that it is conducted by people who were desperate. In essence, it is the epitome of the swamp. It is murky and muddy, and people weren't going to get their way, and this guy who was going to win and then did win didn't deserve to win. And it does have the appearance of intentionality, because you would not have this series of unfortunate coincidences. That is not what it is. It is the surveillance state at work. This is what they did. And they took their professional place and those tools that they had at their disposal to go spy on a campaign and on U.S. citizens, which is unbelievable. And you've heard it from several today that people can't believe this happened. And you can say, yes, there are sins of omission here, but there are also sins of commission. And they were deliberate and intentional and very malicious in the way they went about this. I want to talk a little bit about Christopher Steele. I was looking in Appendix A, I think it's page 419, and it says in there he was paid $95,000 over a 3-year period of time, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, and what was that money paid to him for?
So that would have been for various pieces of information that he gave to the
Okay, so
FBI after
that's-
being a CHS in 2013.
All right?
But not related to be clear, not related to Crossfire Hurricane.
Correct.
Between
But-
13 and 16.
Right,
2013
he was
16.
considered a trusted source, and thereby he was paid.
Correct.
Okay, and then he began working with Fusion GPS in June of 2016. And that really should have raised some alarm bells with you all. November comes along of that year, and you dropped Steele as a source, correct?
Well, the FBI dropped Steele.
Yes, the FBI drops him. He wasn't trusted anymore, and that was because he blew his cover.
Correct.
Started talking to the media. And they should have stopped relying on him at that point, correct?
Under FBI rules, once you're closed, you're closed. You need certain approvals to start reinitiating and reengaging.
That's right. But the FBI kept using him, correct?
They met with him through Bruce Orr.
Yes. And they used him for information after he was cut off.
They received that information.
Right, 13 different times.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So then we get this dossier. It is used as a big part of setting up this entire process for the FISA application. And Christopher Steele, people at the FBI know Christopher Steele was untrustworthy. He was an untrustworthy foreign actor. He was a political hack. He didn't like Trump. He was being paid by the Clintons, but they still pushed forward with using him and exercised extremely poor judgment, correct?
Certainly, once they found out that he had done, they had decided to close him, they should have followed the rules if they wanted to reengage with him. But they had plenty of information to question the validity and the bona fides of some of the reporting.
Should Bruce Orr be held criminally responsible for his conduct?
We make a recommendation to the department
And that's for
to
others
review.
to make.
Others will make the
Yes.
decision.
Let me ask you, a couple of times we've heard about lower level FBI agents and lawyers who had generated some of these inaccuracies, these 17 inaccuracies. So what is the process for supervisors fact-checking?
So under the Woods procedures, these factual accuracy procedures put in place in response to prior instances found of the failure to accurately relay information to the court, the first-line supervisor is supposed to go through and recheck the process to
But
make
that
sure it
did
was
not
done.
happen
That
here.
did not happen here.
And
On
why
multiple
did that?
occasions.
Right. And why did that not happen on these multiple occasions that this work was not checked?
Because we were given explanations ranging from a lack of understanding of the process to
So they were trying to skirt not only the rules, but the law,
we got a lot of explanations that we didn't find particularly
that
satisfactory.
they were skirting the law. I think what they did to Carter Page, as you have heard, is just unbelievable. Let me ask you this. How often do you find mistakes in a FISA application?
Well, this is actually the first time my office has done a deep dive into a particular application. We've done higher level reviews on the FISA process and have found various issues at a higher level, but this is the first time we've actually been able to delve in this way to a FISA.
It's a fairly unusual occurrence.
Let me put this, I would hope so.
If it's not an unusual occurrence, there are more cultural problems than you know about at the FBI, correct?
That's correct.
I would say so too. Okay. I want to touch on accountability in the short amount of time that I have left, because I think it is absolutely just infuriating to the American people that those who executed this exercise, which should have been called Operation Takedown Trump, because that's what they were doing, that they are still getting a taxpayer-funded paycheck, they're still getting taxpayer-funded benefits and vacation time. When they take off for Christmas, they're going to be on the taxpayer dime. And you know, around here, from time to time, you'll hear people talk about those that went after the late Senator Stevens. One of them still working for the U.S. Attorney's Office up in Anchorage. Another one is working in Spokane. Senator Stevens was found to be innocent, and they're still getting a government paycheck. So we want to make certain that disciplinary action is taken. I know you were asked about case agent number 1. He is still there. What about SSA 1? He did the security briefing. Still employed?
That's my understanding.
Okay, so he is still using our money to fund his lifestyle. And the lawyer, we know, is going to have face criminal referrals, correct?
I'm just going to stick with what we say in here, which is we referred it to the Attorney General and the FBI Director.
Okay. The FBI sent a supervisory, no, I don't want to ask you that. I think we know the answer to that. Peter Strzok approved the request to expedite the first FISA application, and he, along with Lisa Page, pushed for the expedition of the first application with DOJ officials, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we know that she was, in answer to what Senator Kennedy asked you, she was involved in the line of communication and the setup of this, correct?
She was involved in at least the one meeting that we identify in the report.
Okay. And I found it curious in your report, and this is the reason I ask it. You said that they had no role in the preparation of the approval of any of the 4 FISA warrant applications. So I guess if you're saying not putting pen to paper and giving a nod or an up or down.
They were not in the, there's a
Okay.
substantial chain of approval that has to go on at the FBI. They were not in the chain that had to sign off on it, but they did get involved, as you indicated, in pushing the department to get answers to,
So they were
can we move
involved in the
forward?
process, but just not
In that
the
way.
final approval.
They did not have responsibility at any step of this for
Okay,
signing
we're
off.
going to get you out of here maybe a few seconds early. I just want to thank you and your team very much for the patience, for being here, for the report that you've given. I think that many of us look forward to what General Durham is going to say when he takes up some of this. But I think it's important to note also, this is not the first time something has happened like this in one of our federal agencies. And the reaction when I'm at home in Tennessee from people is they cannot believe the absolute maliciousness that took place with this. It is not unfortunate coincidences. It is the surveillance state. Yield back.
And if I could just thank you also. You mentioned Senator Stevens and the bill that Senator Lee has pending that you co-sponsored and joined. I appreciate